Hey team, it's day 11 with the 90-day challenge. Hope you guys are doing great. Wanted to jump into the 6 goals real quick, but before I do that, I need to address a question somebody else had around, making adjustments. And on the last video, we talked about a number of different things that you can do to make adjustments when you feel that something might be getting a little off course, positively or negatively. And I apologize for sending some of you down the rabbit hole, but wanting to recap a little bit more today on making adjustments. So we have a making adjustments part 2. Really, it's kind of like testing ads. You kind of start with your 3 big ones to adjust. And after you get through that and get that narrowed down, then you start going down to some of the subcategories to make a little tweaks. And we'll actually walk through one of my examples today and how I look at it, just to give you guys a little bit better and more simplistic approach to making adjustments when you're kind of running somewhere that doesn't feel right. So let's jump into the goals. I don't have to use any red today, so that is awesome. And I really love that. But for the weight today, I was 226, and it was actually 225 and a half. This is why we're going to talk a little bit about the exact adjustments I'm going to be making, because I think I started at like 232 and a half, so I rounded it down to 232. This was 225 and a half today, which obviously when it's against me, I make sure to round up. So literally I've lost almost 7 pounds, or right around exactly 7 pounds in 10 days. I know it's day 11, but on the first day we were talking about what we were going to do. So when you take a look at that, 7 pounds in 10 days, I know that's not going to be sustainable. That would mean in the 90 days I'd lose 63 pounds. It's just not going to happen. That just can't. Like my fat-free body weight's 30 more pounds of that. So it's just not going to happen. So that's why we need to be realistic or pragmatic about when we're doing this, what's going on, and need to understand the different attributes to that. If you are, if you have to lose, 150 pounds, and some of us have to, or 100 pounds, if you're in that triple digit to lose, you can expect the same thing to happen, and don't worry about it. But just know that as you get closer to your goal, that kind of J curve that you had for weight loss is gonna level out. And it's at those point in times, I'm gonna teach you how to make some adjustments to help probably accelerate it again. But for me, I'm gonna make these adjustments to decelerate my weight loss a little bit, just for a few different reasons we'll get into. I ate 2,244 calories. That's 200 more calories roughly than I ate the day before, yet I'm still losing weight. So again, we'll talk about the adjustments. 130 ounces of water, drank more water than the other day, but still losing weight. Again, 8 hours of sleep. That was more than the 6.5 I got yesterday. So is sleep the magic ticket? I think it is a little bit, but we'll walk through that. 55 minutes of working out. It was a lighter day yesterday, which just means not as much volume with the exercises that I had. So got out of there a little earlier than I thought. And protein 208. I just never really miss that protein. It's kind of what I center my nutrition plan around, just because for me, that's when I've seen the best results as far as from a fullness perspective, not so much from a muscle perspective. For me, it's more of what I've read about and studied about the protein and how it takes a little more calories to burn, and it is good for your muscle, especially when you get a little older, and 1 gram per pound of body weight is kind of the guidance now. So really that's what it's all about for me, and that mixed with the water just causes me to be more full during the day. So anyway, got all of this in, pretty happy about it, staying focused on the trifecta of the calories, water, and sleep. Still, you guys test me on this, as long as you hit that, you should be hitting your weight loss goals. So let's jump into what I call the making adjustments part 2. And so when you take a look at adjustments, let's say you're either cruising along really good with your weight loss and it's super fast like mine's doing right now, or in most cases it'll be that you've started to gradually slow and see a flattening of that weight. And basically the first things you want to do, and I kind of went a little colorful today, apologize, I just wanted to see if I could get a little more visual stimulation on my video for those of you that are following. You basically have a yes/no column. And the first thing you want to ask yourself is about the trifecta. Am I hitting my big 3? Okay. And it'd be average daily calories, average daily water, average daily sleep. All right. When you come over here, let me pick up the eraser. And mine would be yes for all 3 of those. So we'll erase the X's just because that should make the visual seem better. And when you take a look at this, I got my big 3 down, so it's like, okay, what do we do now? And for me, I'm trying to decelerate a little bit of the weight that I see. And not really, I mean, I'm happy with the weight loss. But one thing I've noticed is I'm not as energetic when I go to exercise. I'm actually a little tired, and it's not during the day. It's as I'm doing the exercise, and even somewhat of when I'm getting ready to go, because I'm a late afternoon, evening lifter. I've never really lifted good in the morning. I can do cardio in the morning, but as I get there, I know I'm transitioning. I got to get there early enough so I don't mix up my bedtime. But I just know that it's kind of the end of the day. I'm almost done eating, and I've just seen myself being a little more tired. So we got to dig into that as well. Plus, I'm seeing a pretty accelerated weight loss. So I got my average daily calories, average daily water, and average daily sleep right in my range. If we remember our ranges, my weight goal is 206. My calorie range is 2,000 to 2,300. Water is 115 ounces or more. Remember, you should all try to get to that trifecta, and also try to, with that water, get into the triple digits, okay? As far as sleep, 7 to 8 hours, activity and protein, like I said, being optional. So when you take a look at this, I'm good with my trifecta, right? So I'm sitting with this, which is why I'm losing weight. When you go down to the average daily protein, it's like, Richard, you're also hitting that, okay? But what did we learn about carbohydrates the other day? Carbohydrates help us retain water, and it's fuel for your muscles and fuel for your workouts, especially if you're doing some high intensity workouts. I don't really do a ton of high intensity. I mean, you may say they're higher intense than some others in the gym, but I don't like to compare myself. But when you take a look at my average carbohydrate and average fat over the course of a day, and this is for the week so far, I apologize. This is my average for the week so far. I don't know if I said that or not, but I'm averaging roughly a little 200, a little bit more. Carbohydrate, I'm managing 80, and fat, I'm managing 80 on average per day grams, okay? Now you might wonder, well, how'd you get to that? Well, we could go back and look at all the videos and add them up, or I use the Fat Secret app, which is completely free, and that actually has a report in it that will break down your calories. It'll break down what you ate each meal. It'll show you the different foods that you ate over the week and how many calories they have. It'll break down your macronutrients. Like, it's crazy. Like, you just hit a few buttons and it'll show you over the course of the week before, and the next week, daily, yesterday. It'll show you a number of reports that actually break down all of this for you. So I didn't have to do anything but go to the app, and I can get it right out. As long as you're tracking, you can get it out. So when I take a look at this, I got my protein, so we're good, but my carb and my fat are equal. So what am I gonna do about this? We know that carbs are your fuel for your muscles. So that's what's making me tired? And what I've read is anything under 100 carbs per day is what they consider a low or ultra low carb diet. For me, it's probably true, right? Because remember, carb is fuel for your body, and the average person has a pound of glycogen storage, right? And for every ounce, you get 3 to 4 ounces of stored water. So I should have 3 to 4 pounds of stored water if I have normal glycogen stores. But since I haven't been hitting my carbs, I just wonder if I should be boosting those up a little. A, to be more energetic when I'm in my workout, but B, it may slow a little bit of this. Maybe I'm just getting too much watershed or water loss from the past. So if I want to adjust, what do I do? So in a normal world, I would probably like to put 40 grams of carbs on this to get over 100, between 100 and 120. So let's just shoot 120 as my goal, right? Because the literature that I've read anyway, like I said, do your own research. Anything under 100 is pretty low carb. Since I'm working out and things of that with the activity every day, I want my carbs a little higher. So I'm just gonna say 120 to test it, right? We're just testing. And I'm gonna do this, and I'll come back to you guys in a week to show you how it's going. And for fat, I know that that's where I'm gonna have to exchange, because I'm not giving up my protein. So if I'm not gonna take anything away from my protein, I gotta take away from my fat to give to my carbs. So how do you do that? Well, I'm gonna erase this for you and run through some quick math, okay? So as we take a look, and remember that for me, we got 80 grams of carb and 80 grams of fat. So what I'm gonna call this is a macro exchange. So we're gonna call this our macro exchange. And I'm sorry I did not have this put out on the board before, but I just don't have a big enough board. So macro exchange. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take our carb, and we're gonna add 40, and we're gonna take our fat, and we're going to take away, how much should we take away? Well, so we have to know how many calories are in each, because when you're doing the exchange, I'm gonna turn around this way, remember, our calories have to stay in the same range. And if you remember, I've been hitting my calories in the calorie range, so I don't really want to mess with that. So how can I make sure that I can get that extra 40 carbohydrate and be able to take some from my fat? Well, I can say, okay, how many calories are in a carbohydrate? 4 calories. And then I'll get a different color for fat. Let's use pink. So fat equals 9 calories. Normally I just say 10, but we'll say 9 for a little more accuracy, I believe. So we're gonna do 40 for the carbs, so that would be adding 160 calories, right? So what is 160 calories for fat? Roughly, I think, let's say 18. Is that 18? Okay. So 18. So then we would say 18 times 9 is, I think that's 162. So let's say that. Yep, that's what I thought. So sorry about my quick, here we go. So we're gonna take away 162 calories. So that's how you would do the exchange. Now, where am I gonna get that 18 grams of fat from? Well, I can tell you right now that the heavy whipping cream that I use in my, or I get in my blonde Americano in the morning, I know for sure, I think has like 18 or 20. I'd have to go look exactly at it, but 18 or 20 grams of fat. So here's what I'm gonna commit to. On days that I don't have the blonde Americano, I'm trying to get rid of that completely. Then I just am gonna replace those with carbohydrates, those calories. And the big thing also is the fatty meat that I eat. Like sometimes I eat bone-in pork chops, which have more fat than the pork loin tenderloins, ribeye steak instead of sirloin, chicken breast instead of chicken thigh. There's many different substitutions you could do to cut down on the amount of fat you're eating. So basically I have to go from 40 to 40 extra carbs and 18 less fat. And the reason being is because we want this as what I always say is a zero sum. And what does zero sum mean with the calories? You have to have a zero sum. So remember, we had, let's go with the fat again. We had how many? 80 grams of fat times 9 calories. We had 720 before. And what did we have with the carbohydrates before? I'll just use the purple here. With the carb, we had 80 times 4 equals, so that's 320. Okay, so we had 320 calories. So together, the total was 1,040. So now we're going to put 40 carbohydrate. Now remember, the carbohydrate before was 80. So now we're going to have 120 carbs times 4 equals 480, right? Okay, and now we're going to drop this down to 62. So 62 times 9, I'm just going to do this just to make sure I'm right, is 558. And 558 plus 480 is, I think it's 1038. Let's see. Yep. So I apologize. I just wanted to double check my math and I didn't want to walk over and grab my calculator. So if you take a look at this before and after, what I was trying to demonstrate here is that zero sum. Whatever you take from one, you want to give to the other to keep so you're in your calorie range. And I want to stay in my calorie range. So to ensure that I'm going to roughly do that, and like I said, you're not going to nail this every day, but you take away, make sure you calculate your calories. What you take away, calculate your calories. What you add to, calculate your calories. And if you look at this, those totals, 1,040, 1,038, you're staying right about the same. So That is what I call a macro exchange or a macro swap, whatever you want to call it. And that will get me to, so why do I want to do more carbs? Let's explain that now. I just did the math. You can also do it with protein and fat because if I get too much protein and I want more energy or more carb because I need more fuel, then I can do the same thing because protein and carbohydrate are worth the same calories per gram. They're worth 4, where fat is 9. So why would I do that though? Remember, the carbohydrate retains a little more water if you eat a little more carbohydrates. So what I think is happening now is I'm either shedding a lot of my water or I'm not able to retain as much water that a normal person would for glycogen because I'm not eating as much carb. So, okay, if I don't have as much glycogen, oh, that might be glycogen is your energy source for along with your carbs. Glycogen is the stored energy in your muscles. If I don't have as much, then maybe that's why I'm tired. So that's really what I'm doing it for, is to retain a little bit more water. Which isn't a bad thing because mainly that'll be as fuel for my muscles during my workout. I should, because I'm hitting my trifecta, and we're all testing this right now, I should still remain on my weight loss journey, maybe not as decelerated as or accelerated as it is going down, but over time I will get to my goal of 206 pounds or 26 pounds, 2 pounds a week, because we know normal is probably doing 500 less calories a day than you were before, which would equal 1 pound a week. I'm doing roughly 1,000 less calories a day than what I normally do, which is going to be 2 pounds a week. That simple math, I know, regardless of what my water goes back and forth, the true weight that I shed being, fat cells, probably a little bit of muscle at that, but you can't really help it as you're in a catabolic state losing muscle, or excuse me, losing weight. That's just going to happen, but over time I will lose weight. So anyway, I will quit blabbing. Thank you so much for your support. I hope that this breakdown for you as far as the macro exchange was there. I hope that helps. Thank you so much for following. And if you are participating in this with me, keep going. I know it's tough right now. We're kind of in that early stages of where people normally give up because it gets hard. Your body's craving some of the stuff you used to eat that maybe you shouldn't be eating when you're on a weight loss journey, or you're just not getting as much calorie consumption as you used to. Just to this trait, hitting the trifecta for your weight loss goals. So thank you so much. If you have any additional questions, please post them in the comments. And I look forward to talking to you guys again tomorrow. So thanks so much. Have a great rest of your day.